Greetings everyone, peace to you all. Welcome to another episode of Praiseworthy Reviews, where we go through video games to see if they're excellent and commendable. Today we will be reviewing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a Souls-like JRPG by Sandfall Interactive. As suggested by the subtitle Expedition 33, players play as a team of protagonists on an expedition to kill a mysterious entity known as the Paintress that erases them year by year. As usual, we will be evaluating the game based on 5 criteria: fun factor, educational value, cultural value, spiritual value, and cost. For context, prior to this review, I have finished the game to the credits. I played on hard, and it was, well, incredibly hard. The technical state of the game was generally strong. The game never crashed on me at all. There was some minor stuttering here and there, and cutscenes seemed to only run at 30 frames per second for me, but other than those issues, the game ran pretty much flawlessly. So without further ado, let's jump in. With roots from traditional JRPG gameplay, Expedition 33 focuses primarily on combat, exploration, role-playing, and a little bit of puzzle and platforming. The turn-based combat is obviously the focus of the game. Taking pages from the Final Fantasy series, Expedition has a team of characters with very different roles and abilities. Gustav's skills are focused on charging up his arm to do big damage. Lune's skills are focused on building up different combinations of elemental stains for bonus effects, and Mael is focused on using different fighting stances. Obviously there are many more characters and skills, but I don't want to spoil too much beyond the starting party. An added twist to the turn-based combat is the integration of Souls-like inspirations, like limited item usage being refreshed and enemies being respawned at save points. I really like the limited item usage in the game because I think it brings balance to many problems that JRPGs have with item spamming. Even more important than the integration of bonfires and flasks, though, are the Mario RPG-like integration of QTEs for attacks. Many of the attacks need QTE input for maximum effect. But even this is not as important as dodging, parrying, and jumping enemy attacks in the vein of Sekiro. Bosses hit hard, and being able to dodge and parry is crucial to being able to survive even regular encounters, to say nothing of mini-bosses or bosses. There is never a dull moment in combat, and I have been wiped out more than once from not being ready during enemy turns when I was scratching an itch. Bosses and mini-bosses are incredibly hard. Like Souls-likes, they feel very rewarding when you beat them because of their difficulty. Every boss's attack timing is different, and many of them have numerous movesets, a lot of which have tricky delays to keep you on your toes and to troll you. As far as progression is concerned, different weapons can be found by the party, and all of them can be upgraded in Souls-like fashion. Also in Souls-like fashion, skills and attributes can be upgraded as players level up, although fortunately, death is more like JRPGs than Souls-likes. Skill trees are very much like what you might expect from JRPGs with different builds and different directions. The most important progression, though, is probably the use of Pictos and Luminas. Pictos are like accessories you equip that have both passive bonuses like what you might expect from equipment, as well as built-in skills that you can use while the Pictos are equipped. After 4 battles, the passive skill or Lumina is learned, and characters can use Lumina points to equip a combination of Luminas. Initially, it might seem like equipping Pictos is about strategically saving Luminas, but later in the game it is actually reverse. Lumina points are plentiful, but Picto stats become incredibly important in terms of what you want equipped to your characters for survival. In this way, they become more like armor than they are like charms or accessories. All in all, there's a significant amount of strategic depth in character builds, which is very necessary given the difficulty level of the game. Because the game is so difficult, exploration is important because every advantage you can find is necessary for survival. Like many JRPGs, there are NPCs everywhere, some with different quests and rewards that are quite useful. Exploration yields tons of different treasures to find, such as currency, additional Lumina points, new Pictos, secret merchants, and item upgrades. These resources are very critical for succeeding in the game, which makes exploration almost a must. Something on brand with Expedition 33 is that the game makes even exploration skill-based by not offering any sort of map within areas, which I found quite irritating. There's an overworld map in the typical JRPG fashion, but inside each area there are no maps. And if you have a poor sense of direction, you can easily get lost or waste time trying to reorient yourself. While the developers have said that this is to encourage exploration, it actually does the opposite for me. I try to explore if I think I can keep my orientation, but if I think I will get lost or confused, I sometimes just give up and follow the main path. which is usually lit by lanterns. I would have preferred a map, but even a compass in these areas would have been nice. When exploring, the game sometimes provides a few other types of gameplay. There are some minor puzzles similar to God of War's Norn chests, where you have to find and shoot 3 hidden targets to get a reward. In some areas, exploration requires you to do some platforming, which can be quite irritating because movement is not very precise. In other special areas, there are even some weird minigames like weird gestural volleyball or parkour. Lastly, there is some light role-playing at camp. Players can talk to different party members to build relationships in a manner similar to Persona, but again, it's much lighter. While Expedition doesn't do anything completely innovative, the way that it combines elements in a challenging way makes the gameplay truly a fresh experience. Therefore, I'm going to give 5 stars for fun factor. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game full of educational value. In terms of motor skills, the timing needed for parrying, dodging, jumping, and QTEs is very precise. This is easily the most motor skill intensive RPG I have ever played. Since defending is an essential part of every combat, this quickly becomes one of the most demanding aspects of the game, at least on normal and hard. As far as RPG elements are concerned, there is a lot of strategic depth in the weapon, skill, luminas, and picto combinations you can put together for each character. The system is surprisingly deep and supports many different playstyles. As far as factual knowledge is concerned, you can learn a lot of French. Words like gommage or patate can make you curious enough to look up many of the French words. A lot of the French dialogue and writing is quite intelligent, with allusions to poets like Alfred Lord Tennyson, or more importantly, to French artists, which I will avoid naming for spoiler reasons. While not one-for-one recreations, iconic French landmarks like the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, or even the Louvre are hinted at, making you wonder, is this taking place in a surreal fantasy world or an alternate history version of our world? In later parts of the game, there are even some abstract and conceptual ideas that are explored, often in tasteful and meaningful ways. Therefore, I'm going to give the game 5 stars for educational value. The visual style and art of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is inspiring, and, in my opinion, it needs to be, since it is, after all, a game about art and painting. Not only do the visuals need to be gorgeous, they need to be original, and they do succeed at conveying a world that is surreal, unique, and at the same time familiar in certain ways. My only complaint in terms of its art is what I mentioned before, that the cutscenes seem locked at 30 frames per second and sometimes look worse than the rest of the game. Even so, the expressions and the cutscene motions are still quite emotive. The cinematography feels very intentional in a way that I haven't felt since playing Death Stranding. Another powerful mode of the game is that of the soundtrack. Most of the tracks involve vocal and piano elements, and the opera-like tracks are achingly beautiful. Debut composer Lorien Testard and lead vocalist Alice Duport-Percier are outstanding and bring this French fantasy to life, especially in the parts of the game actually related to music. Similarly, the voice acting is also phenomenal, with the star-studded cast led by the likes of Charlie Cox, Andy Serkis, Ben Starr, and Jennifer English.
The future of Lumiere is more important than
any individual life, yes.
Do you still believe that?
I cannot say enough good things about the voice acting. It is nothing short of extraordinary and definitely AAA quality.
I hope I do.
Even the story is outstanding. The plot has a number of successfully executed plot twists. I've tried to keep spoilers in this video to an absolute minimum, and I would warn all viewers to be careful about being exposed to too many story details, which might ruin some of the excellent plot developments in the narrative. The characters are all very likable and endearing, with some like Noko being clear favorites. The characterization is strong, and many of the characters are given clear and meaningful personalities, even if they only have a little bit of screen time. The world of Lumiere is mysterious, and it actually made me wish that more of the game was spent there before the expedition sets out. Similarly, many of the optional areas were very beautiful in ways that made me wish that there were more in-game explanations about them. The lore, as it is revealed, leaves the player intrigued and maybe even hoping for a sequel. The writing is top-notch, the slogans are catchy, the stylistic devices are effective, and the dialogue is intelligent.
For those who come after.
As far as cultural impact is concerned, I can't believe I'm saying this, but at time of recording, Expedition 33 has sold 3.3 million copies in 33 days, and a film adaptation has been announced. Without a doubt, I think it's clear that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 deserves 5 stars for its cultural value. As far as negative content is concerned, Expedition 33 has a lot of it. There's a lot of gruesome depictions of violence like impaling and decapitations. The protagonists are often sprayed with blood in cutscenes, and anytime they're low on health. There's even suicidal ideation, although they seem to be more careful to portray this as a weakness and a negative rather than to glorify it. Somewhat surprisingly, the sexualization is not too bad. There are some sexualized swimsuits as well as some hints of sexual encounters, but nothing too crazy and no serious nudity. The vulgar language, though, is everywhere. This might be the game with the most swearing that I have ever played. The F-bomb is used early and frequently, as well as other curse words. Multiple characters curse both in English and in French, often enough that I realized that it was cursing despite not knowing any French curse words prior to playing the game. There's also lots of drinking, including depictions of drunken behavior. Despite the large amounts of negative content, there is a lot of positive content too.
You can talk to me, you know. We're family. Well, that's what the paperwork says, at least.
Many positive friendships and family relationships are portrayed. ESRB rates this as mature, which I think it definitely needs, but I think the game is generally tasteful in its choice about when to use the more graphic elements. The themes of the game, which are quite biblical, are explored in deep and powerful ways. For more analysis on the themes of the game, check out my biblical themes video for this game. Overall, I'm going to give Clair Obscur Expedition 33 4 stars for spiritual value. As far as cost is concerned, for the time poor, the main story of Expedition 33 can probably be completed in about 33 hours. For the time rich, there are many optional areas to explore, many bosses to defeat, and many activities to do, not even including New Game Plus. It took me more like 60 hours playing on hard and doing most of the side content I wanted to do without even remotely attempting to be completionist. The game has generally useful quality of life improvements like fast travel between save points that are helpful, auto-saving, and generally allowing immediate retries on death with no serious runback issues. The only aspect of the game that I felt was questionable was not to give maps in areas, which I think will frustrate some players, like yours truly. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 retails for $49.99 USD, which honestly seems like very good value, given its AAA level polish and accessible narrative with lots of optional content. Overall, based on the content value, narrative accessibility, and asking price, I'm going to give Expedition 33 5 stars for cost. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game that is an inspiring journey, an experience that wowed me in its opening moments, moving me to tears with the introduction of the Gommage. From there, all the powerful moments, catchy dialogue, and surprising plot twists kept me engaged the whole game. The endings provided powerful choices and meaningful closure for the narrative. The combat itself felt intensely difficult and very satisfying. This is a JRPG that does not hold your hand and does not apologize for its difficulty. As a result, its vision is not compromised, and I think the game honors its inspirations while taking gaming to a new frontier. Based on the criteria discussed in the video, I subjectively assign Clair Obscur Expedition 33 the rating of priority purchase. That's all I have for you in this video. Bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If this video blessed you in some way, please consider watching some of my other videos, subscribing, or sharing with me some of your thoughts in the comments below.